People are understanding something, are bringing peace in their lives. And you can be a part of the magic regardless of where you are. Thank you. Not long ago, I had an opportunity to tell a little story, and I will say that same story, speak the same story here. And I think, more or less, there is an element in that story that is so real, and it applies somehow to us. So here's this very deep philosophical story. Once, camels were chewing some hay, as they do. And after a little while, the little camel, the son, turned to the father and said, "Hey, Dad, you mind if I ask you a question?" And the father said, "Go ahead." He says, "What is this thing we have in the back? This hump." And the father said, "Well, it is so that when we go across the deserts, we can survive without drinking water for a long time. That's what that is." So, well, that's interesting. Went back to chewing hay. After a little while again, the camel said, "Dad, do you mind if I ask you another question?" I said, "Sure." He says, "How come we have these big eyelashes?" And the father said, "Well, son, it's so that when we're in the desert and there's a sandstorm, it prevents the sand from getting in our eyes." And the son said, "Oh, that's very interesting." Then he said, "Dad, do you mind if I ask you another question?" I said, "Sure." He says, "How come our feet are like the way they are, big?" And the father said, "Oh, it's so that when we have to go across the desert, we won't sink in. We'll just be able to walk." And the son said, "Well, that's very interesting." Went back to chewing hay. After a little while, again, the son says, "Dad, I have another question." And the father said, "What?" And the son said, "What are we doing in a zoo?" So, let me bring this to the point that I'm trying to make. And the point I'm trying to make is, who are we? Who are we? Because we look at all this world around us, technology everywhere, buildings, roads, airplanes, airports, helicopters, boats. Wars going on, debates, judgment, police, military, the different divisions of military, political crisis going on. All of these things are happening. Happening, and they're happening, and they're happening, and they're happening. So obviously, I think it behooves us to ask the question, well, who are we? Because another point that I want to make is there's the disease. And if you have a disease, it's going to produce a symptom. It's going to produce a symptom. And the symptom you may not like. But to get rid of the symptom, the best way to get rid of the symptom is to diagnose the disease and get rid of the disease. Somebody was walking around limping, and I said, "What happened to you?" "Oh, I just came out of, the room and I tumbled and bruised my foot." I said, "Bruised your foot? Did you have it x-rayed?" No. It'll be fine. It's just bruised." I said, I said to the person, "Are you crazy? That's your foot. You need that to walk around." You could make this situation much, much worse. Why don't you have it x-rayed? So the person, I guess I was very strong about this. So they had their foot x-ray, and sure enough, it's broken. So did anything change? Well, not really. But now there is a certainty, not uncertainty, not guessing. Now there is a certainty to what the problem is and how to take care of the problem. So, when you look at all these problems that exist in the world, and there's a lot, and I'm not interested in a lot of them, but there is basic things I see. Children abandoned. It's like, well, how could that happen? People going hungry when there's really no shortage of food. Food is produced in abundance. But people going hungry. And you look at this, and then you start to see a picture emerge that here are symptoms. People fighting each other over the stupidest things. This airplane ventured into our airspace. Excuse me? Somebody draws a line and that becomes yours? It's like that famous thing when we're flying over the North Atlantic. I always, on the map you can see where the Titanic sank. So I always say, and by the way, not always, but as many times as I feel like making fun of this situation, I say, "Oh, look, and on the left-hand side, that's where the Titanic sank." And some people open up the window. And I'm like, well, what do you think you're going to see? It sank. But I see this picture, the restlessness, the non-understanding. And the only example I can draw is when a dog forgets to be a dog, what happens? There's a show, and I have seen it, where they show, dogs misbehaving. So what happens? The dog thinks he is the owner. And the owner is the dog. And he wants the owner to be submissive. He bites the owner. The owner is afraid of his own dog. The dog goes and rips every pillow, rips up the sofa. Things that dog is not supposed to do, but is doing because the dog somehow has forgotten its place. So I ask a simple question. Could it be? Could it be? Looking at the symptoms of this world, could it be that we as human beings have forgotten who we are? Could it be? See, I'm saying could it be as a question. It's much gentler. It's not so confronting. It's easier to swallow. But that's what happens. What goes out the window? The human being's humanity. The value of life disappears. Evolvement carries no point or purpose. If you have a train that is intact on the tracks, and you bring another engine and you put it on that train, well, it'll go faster because now there's two engines pushing it. But if the train is derailed and you bring another engine and you attach it to that train and push it, you're going to only make the situation worse. So I know what you're thinking. Are you saying that there should be no military, there should be no this, there should be no that? No, I'm not saying that. You're saying that. I'm saying, could we evolve to a point where we could talk? So the first division of the army would be the talkers. But that's not how it is. No. You do this, well, and then now, of course, one of the nations on this planet Earth has come up with a new one, preemptive. I mean, if that's the way the world really worked, nothing would function. The policeman would hand you a ticket every time he saw you. You might be speeding. You might speed. You might have a parking violation. So all of a sudden, as soon as you park your car, it's just your windshield is full of tickets. Preemptive. So now, I would like to talk about who are we? On one hand, what we are, nothing special. Really. Listen, really. Swimming, no good. Walking, not really that good. Mountain climbing, nothing like the goats. Flying, we're bad at it. So what are we good at? Really good at? And this is what makes us who we are. The ability to experience that beauty, that joy that resides in the heart of every single human being. That's it. That's what we're good at. And so I know you're thinking, well, what about the sheep and the goat and the... No, I don't know about them. I've never had a deep conversation with a goat or a sheep or a camel or, But with you, I can. And you are, like I am, a human being. How does it begin? It begins very simply. That I come on to this earth. How does it begin? That my symphony of life truly begins with the first breath that I take. If you are born in a hospital, you take that breath, you get to come home. You are born in a hospital, you don't take that breath, you don't get to come home. That breath. The simplest of all actions, and yet the most profound of all actions. Profound because that's where it begins. That's what keeps happening all throughout your existence. And when that process stops, you no longer exist. I mean, it's really amazing. As I know some people are going, yeah, but I can hold my breath. It's really amazing what happens if you were to hold your breath. If you really manage to hold your breath, you 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 really manage to hold your breath, you'd pass out. And then you would start breathing normally. because something is happening, this is happening. When this is not happening, you are not happening. So now, if you agree with me, because that's the first test. Remember when a baby is born, and I don't know if you've been in a room where a baby is born, I have. And of course there's, before the baby is born, a few months before, is a boy, a girl, I don't know, there's all these conversations, But that day when that baby comes out, the first focus is the baby breathing. From the time you come out to the time you take your first breath, there is almost pin drop silence in that room. Everybody's focus is on just one thing, breathing or not. And as soon as that baby begins that process of that breath, there is a sigh of relief in that room. And all this time, we breathe, but we pay no attention. We breathe, we pay no attention. It doesn't matter to us. We've got our agenda. We've got this to do. We've got that to do. That's where our focus is. This is what's happening in our... Oh, yes, we're going there. Oh, yes, that's what that is. Oh, yes, that's what that is. And then, all too soon, way too soon, comes the day when this breath is no more. And that's what the doctor checks. Oh, he's got all the electronic equipment and everything else. But the doctor knows those machines sometimes get undone and declare you dead when you are not. And the alarms go off. Nurse comes over saying, "Oh, okay, this just fell off." So then the last check is, are you still breathing? If you are, good. Not. So why am I mentioning this breath? Oh my goodness. Excuse me. This is the miracle of all miracles, isn't it? Isn't it? I mean, that's a big thing going on, isn't it? It is. Of course, it is. But what is miracle to you? A rock bleeding. A frog talking. Wow. Unusual things happening is miraculous to you. Normal isn't. Here is existence all around you. The sun, the moon, the stars, the ocean. Somebody said to me, Oh, I'm sorry, it is raining. Because it's raining outside. I said, did you do this? That was my first question. Did you do this? And he said, no, no, no. I said, I don't know why people think it is so bad when it rains. It is the purest gift from the heavens. Purest. Don't forget, you're 70% water. Not 10%, not 20, not 30, 70% water. How can you be sorry for some more water? And pure. As pure as it gets. Pristine. The giver of life to everything. But we forget. Why? Because it gets in the way of our socialization. Now, the hairdo that I did, that took me 7 hours to put together is going to go because of the rain. And when you were a kid, when you were a little kid, did that stop you? No! Take off the clothes and run in the rain. Sometimes I wonder if a person is wiser when they're young or the other way. You lived for the day. That's all that mattered. The morning. I remember that. I remember lying in bed waiting for the morning to come. And when was the morning going to come? When there was going to be light. And all it took was the smallest inkling out a window, a little crack, a little scratch somewhere, that there was light and I was up. This morning, I was lying there and there was tons of light coming through. And I looked at the clock, and it wasn't even 5 o'clock in the morning yet, and I'm like, oh my God. But I got up. And then I looked out the window, and it was all cloudy. It wasn't sun shining and all that. It was all cloudy. And then, in that flash, I thought to myself, every human being has so much to be unthankful for. Unthankful for. And every human being has so much to be thankful for. What do we choose? What do you choose? You have to make a choice every single day. You have to. You have to. You have to. And what is it that you choose? Do you choose gratitude? Because if you want gratitude in your life, there is only one way you're going to receive gratitude, and that is if you have clarity. Because if you are wallowing in doubt, and that is a disease. And the symptom is confusion. And the remedy, is there a cure for this disease? Yes. Thankfully, yes, there is a known cure for this disease, and it is called clarity. It can be cured. What is the symptoms? Confusion, which will always lead to pain. I mean, do you notice that? With disease, it's kind of the same thing. All kind of lead to that pain bit. And that's what human beings cannot tolerate. We don't like pain. Really. We really don't. Oh, yes, you see all these guys, they're driving a nail through their tongue. And they break their leg, straight to the medical emergency. Oh, please look at me, my leg really hurts bad. Of course. I know. I mean, it's lying on the bed of nails. You'd think this guy, he breaks a leg, no problem. No. People walking on fire, it's a trick. It really is. It's not like he's conquered any pain. That would be wrong. Pain was created to get your attention, because otherwise you pay no attention to it. To get your attention, to fix the problem. That's what happens. In your life, you have to choose every single day how you want that day to be. And it takes a lot. And sometimes it's beyond a human capacity to keep it together. But it is better to remember and try again and again and again and again and again and again and again than never to try at all and not know in your life what you are capable of feeling. If you are on the right road and you get tired and you decide to sit down, it's okay. It's okay. And if you are on the right road and you take 2 steps back, that's okay too. But if you're on the wrong road and you're lost, anything you do is just plumb wrong. Sitting is wrong. Going backwards is wrong. Going forward is wrong. Being on the wrong road is just wrong. But being on the right road in your life. What is that right road? For me, as a human being, I have the privilege. Me, as a human being, I have the privilege of feeling peace. And what is peace? Peace is when all that is within this heart, this understanding, this clarity is healthy. Healthy. Not just diseased or disease-free, but healthy. There's a big difference. There may be a person who never walks, so he has atrophy. His legs may not be broken, but he can barely walk. No, healthy is when you are in good shape inside. Oh, of course, outside we run and we diet. And it's hard, isn't it? Dieting. It's hard. Because there's all these wonderful things like ice cream, cakes, donuts, fried food, butter. And you know, you eat that, and it's not going to be so good. You're going to have to exercise. You're going to have to do this. You're going to have to do that. Da 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 da. So you diet. Do you diet? Do you diet? Do you diet in your life for your inside too? For your heart? For your mind? Or you feed it junk food? Junk food, junk. So how fat is your confusion? Out of shape. Once they took this lady to the hospital because she was complaining of pain. And to take her to the hospital, they had to get a crane to lift her off the bed. And when they got her to the hospital, they started to examine her. And what they found was that one whole area right around here was all gangrene. But when they lifted the area to clean it, what they found was a sandwich was stuck in there. And it had rotted. So, I don't want to gross you out. That was not my intention. But in the realm of the inner self that you have, by the way you do, how out of shape is it? But what have you been feeding it? I know exactly what you've been feeding it. Junk food. You know what junk food is for the inner self? Believing. It's junk food. Whatever somebody says, you believe it, boom. This donut is low calorie, boom. This ice cream is sugar and fat free, boom. This won't hurt you at all. This is it. Just believe this, believe this. How many things do you know and how many things do you believe? Scary thought, huh? And how many things you think you know because you have believed them long enough? I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it. Because I don't want to offend you. I'm not here to offend you. I'm here to just point out the obvious. Because if I can get you to think clearly, you will be well on your way to experiencing peace in your life for the rest of your life. So that's why I am saying what I am saying. Garbage. You think there is a shortage of garbage in this world? If you talk to somebody and you cannot convince them of the garbage that you want to convince them of, all you have to do is print it. I like books. I do. But I don't understand this fascination that people have that whatever is in black and white, printed on this thing called paper, now has become the truth. I just don't understand it. It's the same way. Phone rings and people drop everything to pick up the phone. It's like life and death. I've seen people really go through it. I mean, it's like they're talking to me and somebody comes into the room and they will not be disturbed by it. It's like, no, just wait a minute. I'm talking to him. And the phone rings and I'm nothing. Hello. Then the person picks up the phone, and what do you have? Would you like to buy some cream? No. You could be in a house. The people who are most precious to you are right there. Your mother, your father, your wife, your children. Maybe you're having a big family reunion and every person that is precious to you is right there. When the phone rings, you'll drop all of them to pick it up because it is a habit. Is it a good habit? Is it a bad habit? Doesn't matter. It's not up to me to decide, but it is a habit. It happens by repetition. Sometimes an unconscious thought. Do it enough times, and it becomes a habit. I have heard it takes 7 days to form a habit, and 7 days to break a habit. Repetition. If you do this for 7 days, you'll start doing this without thinking about it. How many things you do without thinking about it? Somebody says to you, "How are you?" You say, "Fine." Are you? Are you? You may not be. You may not be. But it's a stranger. I'm fine. How are you? Do you really want to know? No. Absolutely no. You're never going to meet this person again in your whole life. But manners, habit. How are you? Oh, I'm good. How are you? So what else do you believe in? You've been fed many lines. Oh yeah, you are here. Study, 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 study. Work, 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 work. Retire, 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 retire. Die, 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 die. So I see people retire and they go crazy. They can't retire. Some people just go completely nuts. They have to do something. But I say, live, 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 and only live. Thrive. Be alive till you are no more. Understand the gift that every day is. It's for you. It's for you. Don't you understand? The saga of the sun rising in the east and setting in the west has played out on this planet Earth for millions and millions of years. Countless winters have come, countless summers have come. But you know what's special about this summer? Do you know? You are there. You are there. Will summers keep coming? Of course. For a while. Then they'll stop too. But you don't have to worry about it. We're talking about millions and millions of years yet. Will summers come? Yes. Will winters come? Yes. Sun will rise in the east? Yes. Sun will set in the west? Yes. In the summer, in the peak of it, will you have longest days, especially up north? Hardly the sun setting? Of course. The difference is you are. You are here. You look at yourself, you think you're brand new? What do you think? You're brand new? Very little brand new matter comes to this earth anymore. It's all recycled. All of it. That's how earth works. Recycles. That's why they say this is dirt. And I mean it. This is dirt. And then soon, 25,550 or somewhere approximately that. This is always turning into dirt. I mean, all that stuff you cleaned at home, what do you think that is? It's this. Most of it is skin. Dead, dry skin. That's what you clean. That's what dust is. dust to dust. The miracle is the dust is not turning into dust. It's breathing. It's thinking. It's alive. It can love. Do you know you have the capacity to love? Did you know that? You can love. You can feel. You can sing. Even though you don't know how to sing, you can sing. There's another singing, it's singing inside. Happiness. You can feel happiness. You can feel joy. You is the key word here. You can feel joy. And joy is so special that if you're not feeling it, something is wrong. That's a disease. That's a disease. And is there a cure? Yes, there is. When Socrates says, know thyself, does that sound like an answer to you or a question? There you go. That's an answer. That's an answer to your questions. And you might say, well, you don't even know what my questions are. Don't have to. How big are your problems? I know exactly how big your problems are. I don't even know you. But I know how big your problems are. Do you want to know how big your problems are? This is how big your problems are. Not this much, and not this much. Exactly this much. It's the size of your problem. When something is good, when there is contentment dancing inside, all is well. All is well. And when that contentment is not dancing, all is not well. It is in that realm of wellness that peace exists. Accessible to every human being on the face of this earth. The key lies in knowing yourself. And only when you know yourself can you truly answer the question, how are you? Because then and only then you would know how you are supposed to be. This is the time of the divinity dancing inside. And so far, that divinity is dancing inside. Shouldn't all be well? And shouldn't you feel that wellness, that peace, that gratitude, that clarity, that understanding, that joy in your life? And here is the other big issue. Will storms come in your life? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And will confusion knock at your door? Absolutely. And will you be in traumatic situations? And some of them may not be in your control. Absolutely. But just remember this. Even when there's the biggest storm going on, when there's the biggest chaos afoot, when the night is as dark as it gets, there is still a lamp that is lit within, inside. That even when all seems to be as bad as it gets, and I will not even underestimate how bad it can be. But so far, this breath is coming in and out of you. You still have the companionship of the divine. When you feel weak, that's what the storms do. They weaken you. They weaken you. When you feel weak, know that the greatest strength lies within you. There's nothing stronger than the divine. The same divine creates, destroys, sustains the universe, known and unknown, explored and yet not explored. To keep the earth suspended without strings, without pillars. The Indian poet and a saint said that you have done a magnificent job. From an imagination, you have created this magnificent creation. Without pillars, you hold up the sky. In this creation, all is well. The sun is there, the moon is there, the earth is there, the quadrillion and quadrillions of stars in our galaxy are there. And we are where we are, and all things are rotating and coming together and going this way and going that way and getting blasted to dust and then recomposing into a planet. And all is well. So it needs to be in your universe as well. Everything moving, but at the same time, well. Coming, going. Yes, there is a chaos out there, and there is an order out there. And you are here. When I go sometimes to the malls and stuff, they have a map, and it says, you are here. I like that. You are here. And I am so, every time I read that, I am so thankful to be here. Next time you are in a shopping mall and you see you are here, think about tonight. Because you are here. And explore all the joys that lie within your heart. And peace will be yours. Can't go anywhere. Can't go anywhere. You have more peace in you than you can possibly imagine. Oh, by the way, everything I have said, you already have. See, people go, they take notes. What can I do to become a better person? Stop wasting paper. Because whatever you can write down is not what's going to help you to become a better person. Believe me. It's not writable. What makes you a good person? It's feelable. Clarity makes you a better person. Understanding makes you a better person. Discovering your kindness makes you a better person. Not having, buttered toast may help you lose some weight, but I don't know if it's going to have any bearing on you being a better person or not. There are no magic pills for it. You came this way. You are here. Everything you need, you have been given. You have the tools. Discover. Dig. 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 And you will find the treasure. Because that treasure is in you. Always will be there. So, anyways, what if you decide not to know yourself? If you say, no, okay, he talked about knowing, is I am not interested in knowing myself. I don't want to know myself. Now what would happen? Nothing. Because you still be yourself, you just wouldn't know it. It's a brilliant design. It's really a brilliant design. I mean, if you're just not interested one day, nothing actually happens. It's not like the skies open up and boom, 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 nothing happens. It's like, okay, you will be just living on in your life, till one day you're not breathing anymore. And then what happens to you, you don't really care about. Because you won't be able to find out what they did to you. But so far you are alive. That's the opportunity. Opportunity. Whether you take it or not, it's up to you. It's your decision. And you must decide. You must. Whichever way. Whichever way. Believe me, no, it's like you make a joke about the divine and people go, oh, the divine got hurt. If your divine gets hurt by making jokes, your divine is too small. Find another divine that's a little bigger, better divine. Yeah. Immediately. I mean, for so many people. So many people. And I was like that too. Oh, God. And next thing, Him. And when God comes, then I realized, wait a minute. Where would God come from? The omnipresent would come from where? And go where? I mean, if you're here and you are here, can you go from here to here? If you're already here and you're already here, and all the way in between. And man thinks he is perfect. So we take God, say he. We're no good at swimming. And as men, have you been to a men's bathroom? We're no good at anything. Ego. That's what we're good at. We just think, hey, if God made us in His image, we'll make Him in our image. Divine. Language doesn't play into it. Description you cannot comprehend with this brain. Just can't be done. You have no idea how big infinite is. None. Zero was invented by the Indians to describe the divine. Zero. We have no idea what a zero is. A long time ago, somebody came to me, they were a yoga teacher, and they said, so what do you think about yoga? And there was a bunch of people in the room, and of course they wanted me to say something nice so that, they would get a little more business for the yoga classes. And I said, well, yoga, all this stuff is just like zero. And this person got very upset and left because I said the yoga was like zero. If she would have stayed for the explanation, she would have understood why I said zero. I said there is a 1 and there is a 0. And it doesn't matter how many zeros you place in front of 1. 1 will stay 1 and nothing changes. Start putting zeros after 1. And everything changes. 10, 100, 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, million, billion, trillion. Such zeros, just zeros. But before the one, nothing. You are the one. Everything else is a zero. Is it before you or is it after you? If it's before you, nothing. Bankrupt. All the zeros and you are poor. Put them after you and you're rich. So that's how you can be rich. Start putting zeros after yourself. Not before. Not before. Thank you very much for coming and listening to me. This is what I have to say. Everybody's decision every day to make that decision, it's up to you. Some of you have this gift. Some of you don't have this gift. But everybody has the opportunity to start understanding what it means to know yourself. And if you walk on that path, like I said, peace will be yours. Enjoy this existence. Thank you very much, and good night.